My parents announced they were handing my sister the house. Everyone applauded. I asked, should I read the foreclosure notice dated October 31st? The room went silent. They say blood is thicker than water, but what happens when your own family tries to trap your sister in a financial nightmare, all while painting you as the villain? That Thanksgiving, I didn't just expose a lie, I blew up my entire family, and I don't regret a single second. Before I dive into that absolute dumpster fire of a Thanksgiving, let me start at the beginning. My name's Ethan. I'm 30, an environmental compliance inspector, and I spend my days ensuring major construction projects don't wreck the planet. Sounds dry, but I'm the guy who can halt a $25 million highway expansion with one signature. I live in Chicago now, and honestly, I've always kept my family at arm's length. Why? Because my parents were notorious for playing favorites, and my younger sister, Claire, was always the chosen one. This holiday season, though, they did something so brazen, so beyond the pale, I'm still unpacking it. It started 4 weeks before Thanksgiving. I was knee-deep in soil samples from an Aurora highway project, dirt under my nails, a headache forming under my dust mask. My phone buzzed. It was Mom. "Honey," she purred, and my stomach instantly dropped. That honey voice? It meant she either wanted something big or wanted me to shut up about something even bigger. "What's up, Mom?" I asked, bracing myself. "I just want to make sure you're still coming to Thanksgiving and that you'll be nice." I actually paused, setting down the sample bag. Nice? What's there to be nice about? Your sister has great news to share. We're all extremely excited for her. I just don't want you to make it about yourself or start anything. There it was. The familiar punch to the gut. I was the problem before I'd even walked through the door. I hadn't even planned to start anything. Good, she continued, because this is an important moment for Claire and the entire family. We want things to be perfect. Claire, 27, still lived at home in Neatville, working as a dental receptionist, making about $41,000 a year. She drove the car Dad bought her, used Mom's paid-off credit card, and had never, ever paid rent. "I will be there," I told her, "and you'll be glad for her." "Sure, Mom." I could practically hear her disbelief through the phone, but she let it go. She had no choice. I hung up, staring at the phone, a cold, hard knot forming in my chest. This pattern had defined my entire life. Claire was praised for simply showing up. I was interrogated for simply existing. I remembered being 24, drowning in student loans, when I asked Dad for $6,000. He just laughed. "You need to learn the value of hard work, Ethan." 18 months later, Claire decided she needed to travel Europe for 4 weeks. Dad shelled out $9,500. No questions asked. No lectures on hard work. My boss, Mitchell, a guy who'd seen every flavor of family drama in his 30 years, poked his head into my office. "You look like you just got bad news." "Family stuff," I muttered. He just nodded. He didn't press. That's why I liked him. "You going home for the holidays?" he asked. "Yeah. We need to talk about it," I said, then quickly added, "Nah, I'm fine." He looked at me, a calm, knowing gaze. "You're one of the most composed individuals I've ever worked with, Ethan. Whatever it is, you'll handle it." I appreciated that more than he knew. That night, back in my Lakeview apartment, I pulled out those files. Not work files. The other ones. I'd been building them since September. It all began with a phone call. September 23rd, 10:15 a.m. I was near Joliet, about to crawl under a house. Dad's voice was tight. "Son, I need to speak with you about something important." My stomach clenched. Someone died? Someone sick? Something's wrong. We need help. Financial assistance. It's Mom. She had surgery back in June. Insurance didn't cover everything. We're looking at around $24,500 in medical bills. I didn't hesitate. "I can help. How much do you need?" "Is that all?" $24,500. "Could you wire it this week?" Something felt off. Mom had surgery in June. It was September. Why wait 2 months to ask? I pushed the feeling down. They were my parents. "Let me call the hospital," I said. "I'll arrange a payment plan directly with them." Silence. Long, heavy silence. "We'd prefer cash," Dad finally said. We'll handle the hospital. That's when I knew. Dad, if there are medical bills, I will pay the hospital. Not you. His voice hardened, defensive. We don't need you to question us. We need assistance. Then allow me to assist properly. Which hospital? He hung up. I sat in my truck for 12 minutes, just staring. Then I made a few calls. For major hospitals in the area. No outstanding balances in my parents' names matching Dad's claim. Nothing. No $24,500 bills in collection. Nothing. So, I dug deeper. Property records for their house. Cost me $75. Second mortgage, $98,000, 5 months overdue. First mortgage, $59,000 balance, 3 months late. My throat tightened. My hands shook, gripping the steering wheel as I stared at the printout. My father had lied about Mom's surgery. Lied to get money. He lied because he knew if I found out the truth, I would break the record. I took everything I could legally get my hands on. Loan documents from the county recorder. Marina records. Dad purchased a 36-foot cabin cruiser. $85,000. A boat. He was risking their house, their home, for a boat. 3 weeks later, Claire was using house emojis in her social media posts. They're going to give me their house, she crowed. My blood ran cold. I started making copies of everything. Every single damning document. I'd been carrying it ever since. Thanksgiving morning. I was on the road by 8 o'clock, heading out of the city. Traffic was always a mess. The family group chat was already blowing up. Claire can't wait for everyone to arrive. Today is going to be very special. Mom messaged. Ethan, what time will you be here? Approximately 2 o'clock. Perfect. Claire's announcement is at 2:30. A performance has been scheduled and choreographed. A performance. I knew it. I pulled into their driveway at 1:58. My folder, heavy with truth, sat on the passenger seat. I grabbed it, locked my truck, and walked to the front door. Claire flung it open before I could even knock. White sweater dress, curled hair, flawless makeup. She looked like she was going to a cocktail party, not a family dinner. You made it, she stated, not warm, just observational. No hug. We stopped doing that years ago. The house was packed. People everywhere. Football on TV. Kids running around. That same damn green bean casserole. Dad was in the living room with Ryan, Claire's boyfriend. Ryan, who sold insurance, made $60K, leased a BMW he couldn't afford, and smelled like a high school locker room. Ethan. Dad came over, did the hug-back-slap thing. Good to see you, son. His eyes narrowed, searching mine, trying to gauge if I was going to be a problem. I just smiled, giving him absolutely nothing. Grandma, 86 and sharper than anyone else, sat in her corner chair. She watched me walk in and gave me a slight nod. She knew. I could see it. I found a spot at the dining room table, placed my folder discreetly on the floor beside my chair, and waited. The room slowly filled. Small talk, complaints about gas prices, Aunt Laura's book club drama, Uncle Mark bragging about his new truck. Claire sat at the head of the table, the place of honor. Mom to her right, Dad to her left. Ryan stood next to Dad, looking nervous. But then I saw someone new. An older woman, professional-looking, a briefcase beside her chair. Who's that? I whispered to Emily, my cousin. No idea. She arrived right before you. Claire caught my eye from across the table. She smiled. Not a pleasant smile. A winning smile. Dad stood, tapping his fork against a wine glass. Chairs scraped. Before we eat, I'd like to say a few words about family, gratitude, and the blessings we've received this year. Same speech, minor variations, every damn year. We are especially grateful to have everyone here today, and we've got some very exciting news to share. He beamed at Claire. Claire stood up. Ryan, stiff as a board, stood next to her. But she was the star. The whole room was watching. Phones were already out, recording, waiting for the moment. Ryan's mother was smiling a little too hard for the camera. Claire began, her voice shaking slightly with feigned nervousness. It's difficult to say whether I'm excited or nervous. Mom and Dad are giving us their house. The room erupted. Cheers. Whistles. Aunt Laura started crying. My cousins were all smiles, raising their glasses. Uncle Mark shouted, "Congratulations. We'll take over the existing loans." Claire's voice rose over the noise, which Dad says are in excellent condition, and begin building equity. No more renting. More cheering. More phones. Forks stopped halfway to mouths. Dad raised his hand. And, because the lender requires signatures to complete the transfer and new loan terms, we've hired a mobile closing agent. He gestured to the woman at the end of the table. She stood, opened her briefcase, and took out a stack of papers. "This is Patricia," Dad explained. "She does after-hours mobile signings. She's here to oversee the signing and notarization. Claire, sweetheart, come down here so we can get started." Claire was glowing. She floated towards Patricia, Ryan filming on his phone, muttering, "This is amazing. This is actually happening." My chest tightened. My jaw wouldn't stop twitching. This was it. They were going to do it, right here, right now. Claire looked directly at me. The room was noisy, but she fixed me with that winning smile. Unlike some people who leave and only return home twice a year, I have always been here. I help with the yard. I run errands. I show up. And I believe action should be rewarded. Someone let out a nervous laugh, then immediately regretted it. People were looking at me, waiting for my reaction. Emily leaned into her boyfriend, whispering. He looked at me and smiled. Uncle Mark raised his glass. "To the daughter who remained." "To Claire." The room echoed. Aunt Laura set her wine glass down, giving me a pitying look. "You're not upset?" "I mean, your sister will receive the entire inheritance." "Should I be?" I asked, my voice flat. She glanced at Claire. "I just think some people might be hurt." "He's fine," Claire cut in, sharp as a knife. "He doesn't need anything from us. He has his big Chicago life." My cousin Tyler, bless his honest heart, spoke up from the corner. "That's cold, dude. You drove for nearly an hour to watch your sister get everything." "Tyler, do not start," someone hissed. "What?" "I'm just saying what everyone's thinking." Guy moves away, barely visits, and now he's supposed to smile while she gets the house. I took a sip of water, carefully placing the glass down, and said nothing. Uncle Mark leaned back. "Chicago made you cold, Ethan. You used to be part of this family." "I am a member of this family." "Are you in?" Claire cut in, her eyes flashing. "Because you think you're better than the rest of us. As if your current situation is insufficient." Some younger cousin, maybe 16, leaned across the table, phone in my face. Get his reaction. "This is gold." I didn't move. Didn't blink. Looked straight at the camera. "Make sure you understand my positive side. It's the only one that appears here." Uncle Mark laughed. "Sharp. I mean, look at him. Ice cold. Nothing bothers the big city guy." "Could we just eat?" a younger cousin pleaded. "This is awkward." "It's not awkward," Claire insisted. "Ethan is simply being Ethan," Mom said quickly, her voice forced. "Ethan understands. He has always been the strong one." Aunt Laura looked at me strangely now. "But Robert, this seems like a lot to give to a single child." "Claire earned it." Dad insisted firmly. She stayed. Ethan made his decisions. Claire, still standing, demanded, "Say congratulations like you mean it. Don't just sit there judging us." The phone kept recording, a small red dot glowing. "Smile, Ethan," Mom purred, that sweet voice laced with steel. Claire remained standing. Papers in the closing agent's hand, pen ready. I set down my glass. "That's very generous." "Congratulations." Claire blinked. "Smile as if you mean it." "I am smiling," I said, my voice quiet, cutting through the din. "This is simply my expression as I watch a train crash into a wall." Aunt Laura touched my arm. "Are you really okay with this?" "I mean, it's also your family home." Claire snapped, "He left it. You don't have the right to leave and complain when someone else takes what you left behind." Tyler grumbled, "That's harsh." "It's true." Claire's voice was venomous now. "He's too good for Neville. Too good for family dinners, too good for Sunday visits. Actions have consequences." I didn't leave. I received the reward. The closing agent cleared her throat. "To be clear, these signature lines establish you as new borrowers on the loans. If we're going to do this, let's get started." Dad nodded, gesturing towards Claire. She took a step towards the agent. I looked at Dad. He was pale, white-knuckled, gripping his chair. "Hey, Dad," I said, my voice calm. "We can do this privately. Walk with me." He was frozen. "No," Claire replied immediately. "We're doing this right in front of everyone. You don't get to take him aside and poison it." Mom's face became tight. "Ethan, please don't ruin this." I offered to not ruin it privately, I said, meeting her eyes. "There's nothing to discuss," Dad said, his voice a strained whisper. Claire walked back towards the closing agent. "Simply ignore him. He's trying to make this about himself, as he always does." "Last chance," I said quietly. "For what?" Claire snapped. "What could you possibly say?" I reached down and picked up the folder. "Okay then. Let's do it here." Dad's face drained of every last drop of color. Mom's hand began shaking so violently she had to put down her wine glass. "Ethan," Dad said, his voice strangled, "not now." "Not now." I opened the folder. "When would be better?" "After she signs." "What signs?" Ryan asked, confused. I pulled out the first document. A foreclosure notice. Large red letters screamed off the page. The case number, right at the top. I placed it in the center of the table, directly on the turkey platter. "The notice of default," I stated. "Filed on October 31st. There have been 5 months of missed payments on the second mortgage. 3 months for the first." Claire stared at the document. "What's that?" I took out another page. "The actual foreclosure filing, the timeline, amounts to a void foreclosure. The bank requests a reinstatement payment of $29,000 by mid-December. Following that, the combined monthly payment is approximately $3,100. That's before utilities, property taxes, insurance, and repairs." "That is not true," Mom started. "Call the bank," I said calmly. "Ask what's required to reinstate the loan at this address. Or look up the foreclosure filing. The case number is right there at the top. This is public record." Nobody moved. The closing agent, Patricia, was already packing her briefcase. She stood up. "I cannot proceed while the parties are arguing the terms, and there is visible coercion. If you want to proceed, reschedule with the lender." She walked out quickly. I looked around the table. At everyone's stunned faces. The phone was still recording. "So, here's my question. Do you want the truth or a performance?" Someone's phone kept recording. That little red dot glowed. "I can walk out. Let you sign. And let you know when the reinstatement deadline arrives. But you can't come up with $29,000. I'll tell you that now." Claire was moving towards me, face contorted. "You're lying. Because you can't stand how happy I am." She was standing over me now, pointing, her voice loud. She slammed her hand on the table. Silverware jumped, knocking over a wine glass. Red wine splattered across the pristine white tablecloth. Wine bled into the corner of my paperwork. I pulled the folder back. "Sit down," I said, flatly, quietly. Something in my voice changed. She stopped. She remained standing, but didn't move closer. I took out more papers. The recorded mortgage document. The tax lien notice. My own text messages to Dad. "You're not giving her the house free and clear," I stated. "You're only giving her debt. Mortgage and escrow. Approximately $36,000 per year. Not including what breaks. Not including what the county has already filed liens for." Aunt Laura picked up one of the papers, reading it with wide eyes. "Robert, this is real." "Where did you get this?" Dad's voice was a ragged whisper. "The county recorder's office. Public records. $75. Ryan was backing away, his face pale. "Wait, Claire, you mentioned the loans were current and manageable. You didn't mention anything about default or reinstatement." "They are current," Claire stammered, looking at Dad. "Right? You mentioned the loans were in great shape. You said we only needed to sign the transfer." Dad couldn't speak. Uncle Mark picked up the foreclosure notice. His face hardened. "This means they are months behind. Final notice." "That cannot be right," Mom whispered. "It is dated October 31st. "Claire earns $41,000, I said, looking at Ryan, then back at Claire. Ryan's salary, maybe $60,000. Total take-home pay combined might be around $74,000. You'd spend half your income just to keep the house. There's nothing left for a wedding, savings, emergencies. Emily's mouth was open. They planned to trick her. They were going to trap her, I explained. Ryan's face was beet red. You told me the house was in good condition. You stated we'd be building equity, not digging out of foreclosure. We thought we'd catch up, Dad said weakly. Based on what? I asked. What has changed? What made you suddenly believe you could handle debt that you had been defaulting on for months? Silence. Ryan grabbed his coat. I'm out. I am done with this. Ryan, please wait. Claire chased him to the door, her heels clicking on the hardwood. Baby, please. We can figure it out. We can. The front door slammed. His parents followed him out, their voices rising in the driveway. Claire returned 40 seconds later, mascara running, lipstick smudged. You did it. You've ruined everything. I didn't ruin anything, I explained. I read it aloud. They needed help. You should have helped them. I tried, I said. They refused. Ryan's parents walked back in, his mother's face hard. He will not speak to us. He says he needs space. She turned to Mom and Dad. Were you going to do this to our son? We assumed they'd figure it out, Mom said weakly. How do you calculate foreclosure and marital debt? Grandma's voice, surprisingly strong, cut through the chaos. Everyone stopped. Looked at me. What exactly do you mean when you say they refused? I pulled out my phone, opened the call log. On September 23rd, Dad called and told me Mom had surgery, $24,500 in medical bills. They asked me to wire the money. I showed the screen to those nearby. Date, time, duration of call. I immediately agreed. I said I'd call the hospital and arrange a payment plan. He said no. They wanted cash. That's when I realized something was wrong. I looked at Mom. I called the hospitals. Asked if there were any outstanding balances in my parents' names that matched what Dad claimed. Nobody had bills like those. Nothing recent that fits. Mom's face wrinkled in disbelief. That's when I pulled the property records, discovered the mortgages, missed payments, and foreclosure timeline. Claire's voice, laced with bitter anger, you should have given him the money anyway. What will you spend it on? Additional boat maintenance. Uncle Mark's head snapped up. Boat? I took out another document. Boat registration at the marina. 36-foot cabin cruiser. March 2021. $85,000. The room went nuclear. Uncle Mark was standing. Aunt Laura yelled. Emily shook her head. You purchased a boat? Uncle Mark's voice was powerful enough to strip paint. We thought we could afford it, Dad whispered. Grandma stood. Her chair scraped loudly. Everyone became quiet. Robert, she commanded. Please give me the boat keys. Dad blinked. What? I am currently in possession of the boat keys. You are not paying slip fees for another month while my grandchildren are on the verge of debt. Keys. Now. Or I'll call the marina and have it impounded. Dad fumbled in his pocket, pulled out a keychain, and handed it to her. She pocketed it, then took out her phone, dialing. Who are you calling? Mom asked, her voice small. My lawyer. We are changing my estate plan tonight. Everything is split equally between Ethan and Claire. You won't get anything until you've proven you're trustworthy. She raised the phone to her ear and walked into the other room. Uncle Mark spoke up grimly. That boat will be listed tomorrow. I know a guy who does marine sales. We will get whatever we can out of it. You can't. Dad began. Pay attention to me. I walked towards the door. Aunt Laura stopped me, placing a hand on my arm. Most of us witnessed it, she said, her voice soft. How they treated you, different from Claire. We didn't say anything. I apologize for that. I just nodded, not knowing what else to do with that information. You did the right thing, she said quietly. It doesn't feel like it. It never does. I walked out. I didn't look back. My phone lit up before I even got to my truck. Emily. Aunt Laura called the cops. Thinks there may be elder abuse or fraud. This is going to get bigger. I sat there for 12 minutes, just breathing, watching the house through my windshield. Then I started the car and headed back to Chicago. 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, I received a call from Detective Reynolds of DuPage County. We met in a coffee shop. She was in her mid-40s, sharp, professional, taking notes in an actual notebook. "Thank you for meeting," she said. "Not a problem. I'm assuming I'm not in trouble." "No, Mr. Hayes. We are looking into your parents. There may be issues with loan misrepresentation." I walked her through everything. The September call, the timeline, the documents. She flipped through the pages, raising her eyebrows. "Your parents claim you managed their finances and advised them on the property transfer." I pulled out my phone. "This is where he asked for money. I offered to pay the hospital. He refused. That's it. I never accessed their accounts." She took a photo of the screen. "So, they appear to be shifting liability. Do you have evidence that you were not involved?" 3 years of no contact with their bank. No joint accounts, no power of attorney. And my lawyer's documentation from when they attempted to get me to co-sign in May. She flipped back through her notes. "Your sister mentioned that they pushed hard for a spring wedding. April, specifically. They scheduled the date before Ryan proposed. Mom even chose the venue. April would have been 7 months after the property transfer. Exactly when payments were due. If your sister and fiancé were married and living there, they would expect his income to cover the costs, without telling him what he was getting into." She looked up. "This is the fraud angle we're looking at. If the borrowers or lender falsified occupancy or intent, they would be making a misrepresentation to both parties. What do you need from me? If it goes to court, your testimony will be truthful." "Which is unlikely. Most of these settle." "I will tell the truth. That's all I've been doing." She closed her notebook. "You rescued your sister from years of financial ruin. Most people don't have anyone willing to blow up Thanksgiving to protect them. I just read the paperwork." She smiled. "I'll be in touch." 4 days later, Dad arrived at my office. "Mitchell, my boss, summoned me in. Your father says there's a family emergency." Dad was there. He looked tiny, shrunken. "We need to talk," he said. Mitchell, ever the professional, was studying the room. "Take the day if you need it." "I'm good," I said. "This will happen quickly." We went outside. The wind was cold. "This needs to be fixed," Dad pleaded. "The detective is taking documents. They're claiming fraud." "That is not my problem. We are family." "You don't do this to your family. You attempted to trap your daughter in debt she could not afford." "What would you call that?" "We were desperate." "Then you should have asked for assistance." "Honestly." He grabbed my arm. "You can make this go away. Tell them there was a misunderstanding." I looked at his hand on my arm, then back at his face. He let go. "I am not lying for you. Whatever happens right now is what you earn." "She's falling apart. Your sister is not eating, sleeping, or taking her medication. Because she nearly signed away her life, or because Ryan left?" I asked, my voice hard. "Then she should thank me." "Ethan, please. Stop contacting my workplace. Stop showing up here. If you need anything, please text me. I'll decide whether to respond." I walked back inside. Mitchell was waiting. "You okay?" "Yeah. Family stuff." He nodded. "You handled it well." By mid-December, the foreclosure was officially underway. Claire texted me. "I met with a therapist. She claims I was conditioned to accept manipulation. That I confused favoritism for love. It's better to figure it out now than never. Can we talk when you're ready?" Christmas. I didn't go home. Emily shared a photo from Grandma's. Small dinner. Caption, "New tradition. You've been invited for next year." Grandma called that night. "Claire is staying with me. Therapy is helping. Your parents declared bankruptcy. Tell her I'll be here when she's ready." February. Dad sent angry texts. I sent one back. "Stop contacting my workplace. Further contact will be recorded as harassment." Then I blocked his number. Mitchell informed me I was up for promotion in April. Life moved forward. February 12th, Claire texted. "Can we meet?" Coffee. We met in Needle. She got there first. She looked better. Healthier. "Hey," she said, a little hesitant. "Hey." There was an awkward silence. "I am sorry about Thanksgiving," she finally said. "For what I said?" "For believing them instead of you. You didn't know. I should have questioned it. I wanted the fantasy so bad. How are you today? Better. Living with Grandma. Figuring out who I am beyond being Dad's favorite. She laughed, a genuine, mirthless laugh. Turns out being the favorite equals being the most useful. Noah, I've started seeing someone. He's a paramedic. I told him everything. He didn't run. That's good. I miss having a brother. I'm still your brother. She began crying, tears streaming down her face. I don't deserve that. Probably not, I said, my voice softening, but you'll get it anyway. We talked for an hour. About favoritism. How I was expected to handle things while she received protection. They've been paying my car payment for a year, she admitted. I didn't know that specifically, I said, but it does track. I thought I deserved it, she said. Turns out I was just easier to control. They were unable to control you. That's why they went after me. Do you despise them? She asked. No, but I don't trust them. And I don't owe them my destruction. Grandma is changing her will. We'll split everything equally between us. Dad receives nothing until he proves his trustworthiness. Good. We left. Stood in the parking lot. A cold February wind. May I hug you? She asked, her voice small. Yeah. She hugged me tightly. Thank you for saving me, even if I despised you for it. You're welcome. Can we try this again? Yeah. Call me anytime. April brought the promotion. Mitchell summoned me in. Senior inspector. 14% raise. You've earned it. Thanks. You've changed this year, Ethan. More focused. It's obvious what you've been going through. Spring arrived. I was working on a project in Oak Park when Mom called. Ethan. Her voice was tiny. We need to talk about your father and me. We've been in counseling. We'd like to apologize. A real apology. Okay. Can we see you face to face? We owe you that. Because we were wrong. I thought about it. I will think about it. Please. Your father looks different now. I will think about it. I hung up. That night, I called Grandma. Mom wants to meet. They say they've been in counseling. Yes, they have. I've been paying for it. Condition of assisting them. Do you believe they've changed? A long pause. I believe they're scared. Not the same as changed. Should I meet with them? It's your decision. But if you do, make sure they earn it. Thank you, Grandma. I did not meet with them. Did not respond to Mom's texts. I maintained the boundary. May 22nd, 7 months following Thanksgiving. Claire sent a text. This weekend, we're having family dinner at Grandma's. She wants everyone present, including you. Including them. Says it's time. I am not interested. I know, but Grandma inquired. And she's 86. For her. I will think about it. 4 days later, I texted back. I'll come. But I'll leave if things don't work out. Fair. Saturday afternoon. Grandma's house. I was the last to arrive. I parked and sat for a minute, wondering if it was worth it. Then I got out. Grandma opened the door. You arrived, she said, her eyes warm. Thank you. She hugged me tightly. Keep an open mind, but do not accept any garbage. I walked inside. The living room was set up like a mediation. Grandma's chair at the head. Claire was sitting with Noah. Emily with her boyfriend. Uncle Mark and Aunt Laura on another couch. And Mom and Dad on the love seat, looking smaller, older. Dad had lost weight. They looked up as I walked in. Dad started to stand. Sit down, Grandma said, not loud, but firm. He sat. I chose the chair farthest from them. Grandma sat next to Claire. We're here because this family is broken. Broken items are either repaired or thrown away. I'm too old to abandon my family, so we're fixing it. Nobody spoke. Robert, Susan, you have something to say. Say it. Dad cleared his throat, his voice shaky. Ethan, we owe you an apology. A real one. He swallowed hard. We tried to use you. But you wouldn't let us. We attempted to use your sister. We transferred our problems to our children. That was incorrect. Mom cried, wiping her eyes. We were drowning. Debt, house, and boat. Rather than asking for assistance, we attempted to manipulate you both. We've been in counseling for 7 months, Dad explained, working out why. The stress, shame, and fear of admitting failure. We filed for bankruptcy. Chapter 13. Everything is gone. We're starting over with nothing. And that is what we deserved, Mom added. You did not do this to us. We did it to ourselves. Silence. Grandma looked at me. Do you have anything to say? I took a breath. You didn't just try to use me. You tried to destroy me. And when I refused, you moved on to Claire. You would have let her drown to avoid the consequences. Dad, openly crying now, nodded. You called my job, showed up at my workplace, tried to frame me as unstable, made me the villain for telling the truth. I know, I said. So no. I do not accept your apology. Not yet. Mom's face wrinkled. What do we need to do? Prove it through your actions. Make amends. Create something real. How long? She whispered. However long it takes. I don't owe you a timeline. Claire spoke up. They've tried therapy. Being open about favoritism, using me, treating you as expendable. That doesn't undo what they did. No, I agreed. But it is a start. I looked at my parents, really looked at them. They were broken. Not performing. Just broken. You wanted the image more than your children. Now you don't have either. So, what are you planning to do? Mom wiped her eyes. Whatever it takes. No matter how long. We simply want our children back. You cannot have us back the way we were, I said. That is no longer viable. But perhaps you can try something new. Grandma spoke, clear and firm. I've altered my will. Everything is split evenly between Ethan and Claire. Nothing goes to Robert until he proves he is trustworthy. Dad didn't argue. He just nodded. And if Ethan says he is leaving, no one follows him. Nobody argues. Nobody guilt trips him. Anyone who violates that has to answer to me. Dad spoke quietly, yes, Mom. I stood up. I am leaving now. This was sufficient. Claire also stood. Can I walk you? Out. Yeah. We walked to the door and stepped out. The evening air was warm. Thank you for coming, she said. This is for Grandma, not them. I understand. But still, it mattered. Are you okay getting there? Noah has been good to me. Therapy is helping. I'm discovering who I am when I'm not performing. Good. Are we all right? She asked, hesitantly. We are getting there. She hugged me. I love you, even though I despised you. I love you too. I walked to my truck, got inside, and sat for a minute. My phone vibrated. Dad sent a text. Thank you for listening. I know I don't deserve it. I'll spend the rest of my life regaining your trust if that's even possible. I read it. Did not respond. Put down the phone. Started the car. And drove home. 7 months ago, I blew up my family to save my sister. Today, I sat in a room filled with wreckage. The truth didn't solve everything, but it cleared the way. I pulled into my parking spot and walked up to my small one-bedroom apartment. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Inside, I poured a drink, sat on the couch. My phone buzzed. Claire. Noah would like to meet you officially. Have dinner sometime? Yeah. Name the day. That Thai place in Lincoln Park next Friday. It works for me. I put the phone down. Tomorrow, a site inspection in Evanston. Following that, dinner with Claire and Noah. Nearly 2 years later, I was celebrating Grandma's 88th birthday. A small gathering. Claire and Noah. Emily with her boyfriend. Uncle Mark and Aunt Laura. Claire seemed different now, sharper, more grounded. She'd moved out of Grandma's house in June, got her own apartment in Downers Grove, paid her own bills. Lived her own life. You look good, feel good, I told her. Noah and I are talking about getting engaged. This time, actual planning will take place, rather than following someone else's timeline. That's good. Dad reached out last week, she said. Asked if we could meet. What did you say? Perhaps someday. When I'm ready. She looked at me. You're the same. We weren't repaired, but we weren't broken in the same way. Mom and Dad were staying in a rental in Plainfield. Dad worked in a hardware store. Mom did bookkeeping for a church. They were slowly rebuilding, without the boat, without the lies. Grandma called us to the table. Cake time. My phone buzzed while we were singing. Unknown number. I ignored it. After cake, I checked. Dad left a voicemail. Ethan, I just wanted to say happy birthday to your grandmother. I know we aren't invited. That is fair. I just wanted you to know that we are thinking about you both and the family. We are working on it. That is all. I hope you're doing well. I saved it. Did not delete. Did not respond. Perhaps someday. Not today. I took my phone and walked back inside. Claire was laughing at something Noah had said. Grandma was cutting second slices for anyone who requested them. This. Right here. This was sufficient. I took another slice of cake and sat down. Forward, not backward. What do you think? Did I handle my family's mess the right way, or was I too harsh? Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and the truth? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below.